Welcome. Today we're looking at again algebra, and specifically we're looking at the grade 8 algebra and how to simplify or multiply brackets. And this is an important skill that you really require when you're simplifying expressions in mathematics. Let's just recap multiplication of terms. Now remember, whether they're in brackets or you're just multiplying terms, the concept of multiplying your terms in algebra is the same. So you need to be really careful and remember that all that you do, you basically multiply in terms. When we put brackets, we're just showing you that there's more than just one term that you must multiply. So in this example number 1 here, you're just multiplying a term by another term. It's just 5 times 3, and because there's no x in the other term, the result is just 15x, because if there was another variable, then it could also appear in the multiplication. But in number 2, now we've got 5x multiplied by 3x. That means you must multiply your coefficients, that is the 5 and the 3, and then you must still multiply the variables as well. So we get 15x squared, because x times x is x squared. And then here again we bring in signs into it and more exponents on the variables. Negative 5 is the coefficient and the other one is 3, so you multiply, you get negative 15, but x to the power 3 multiplied by x to the power 4 is x to the power 7. And remember, here we're using our law of exponents that you've learned, and where when bases are the same, you just add your exponents in your multiplication. And in number 4, just slightly more complex terms, but nothing changes. You still have to multiply the coefficients, but take note of the signs. Negative 5 multiplied by negative 3, which gives us a positive 15. And then the x to the power 8 multiplies x to the power 2. The y to the power 4 multiplies y to the power 11. You really have to be clinical about this and make sure that you don't miss out anything. And the outcome is 15x to the power 10, y to the power 15. Now let's take that skill and now apply it now on the multiplication of brackets, because what is crucial even here is to know how to multiply individual terms, because once you're able to do that, everything else becomes straightforward. Now, what is also important in multiplication of brackets is to know when a term actually multiplies the bracket and when it does not multiply the bracket, because it's a standalone term on its own. That is one of the biggest problems sometimes that people make an error with. In example 1 here, clearly this is multiplication. There's nothing between the bracket and the 5, so we're multiplying the bracket by 5. But now it's crucial to understand that whether we put that 5 in front of the bracket or after the bracket, it's still multiplication. Even here, there's nothing between the 5 and the bracket, that's still multiplication. But look at this one. Hey, in this expression there are 2 terms, but there is no multiplication. This 5 doesn't multiply that bracket. In fact, there is a 1 in front of this bracket. It's plus 1 that actually multiplies that bracket over there. So the 5 is a standalone term, and plus and that bracket is also another standalone term. And what you'd have done, they would just remove brackets, because there's nothing multiplying the brackets except the positive 1 that will not change anything inside. So wanna watch out for those things there. It's very important to know when something multiplies the bracket. And look at this one, whether it's in front of the bracket or after the bracket, still that positive 5 is a standalone term and does not multiply the brackets. So we would have just removed the brackets there and add any like terms. But look at this one, and this is the one that normally confuses people with the negative. Our 5 now is negative 5, but now that 5 definitely multiplies the bracket, because there's nothing between the negative 5 and the bracket. But look at this. Again, this is another way of us showing you that, hey, whether we put it in front or after the bracket, that negative 5 in brackets is still multiplying that whole bracket. So you would know that you have to multiply. But now look at this. Example 7, that negative 5 does not multiply the bracket. You wouldn't say, oh no, it's just negative 5 multiplying on the other side. There is nothing between the negative 5 and the bracket that tells us its multiplication. So this is a start or a beginning of a new term, negative 5. And there's another term. So this expression has got 2 terms. So we want to watch out that in terms of expressions, that I will only multiply when I see complex terms. That's when your multiplication will come into the picture, that show multiplication. And in this case, we would have just removed the brackets and just add any like term. Right, let's take this skill now and have a look at how we would multiply brackets, applying a bit of algebra in it. Here we've got 5 into 3x minus 4 Now you need to understand what this is all about. When we were multiplying just single terms, we didn't have a whole lot of things there, but now this is a way in mathematics of showing you that the 5 multiplies both the 3x and the negative 4. Now this is something we call the distributive law property that is applied in mathematics. In other words, it's a way of saying to you the 5, that is a factor outside the brackets, multiplies all the terms inside the brackets, and that is the simplest way of putting it. So that's what you will do as well. So 5 times 3x gives you 15x, and 5 times negative 4 gives you negative 20. And always be on the lookout of the fact that you are multiplying terms with signs, not just the numbers only or the terms only. The term you're talking about has a sign that goes with it. All right, example 2, again, just because it's written the other way around, is still the same thing. Still means that bracket is being multiplied by 5. Think about it. When we say 3 times 4 in multiplication is the same as 4 times 3, so the order is not important. In multiplication can be in any order. So this is still 5 multiplying that bracket. So 5 is going to multiply x, and 5 is going to multiply negative 3, and you get 5x minus 15. Again, here we've got negative 3 multiplying the bracket. So what's important here is to take note of signs again. Negative 3 multiplies the 2x cubed, and negative 3 multiplies the negative 4x squared. So we have to look out for signs there, because negative 3 times negative 4 gives us positive 12. And here negative 3 times that 2 gave us negative 6. And here, just remember, if we had 3 numbers multiplying them each other, and we would have, say, 5 times 2 times 3, in reality the order of those terms is irrelevant. We could have multiplied them in any order. The outcome of the multiplication, that is your product, is the same. So we could have just gone and first multiplied the 2 and the 3, which is much more easier. You get 6, and then once you've got that 6, you multiply inside the brackets. So that is something I would advise if you see something like that, because they both multiply inside the brackets. You're avoiding a situation where you'll create unnecessary steps. So when you multiply by 6, you get 6x squared y cubed plus 24x. Now watch very carefully number 5. Number 5, there's no way the negative 5 is multiplying this bracket. If we want to, we will do something in mathematics that actually shows that the negative 5 multiplies that bracket. But right now, you've got an expression with 2 terms. X minus 3 is a term on its own inside brackets, and that negative 5 is a term on its own. So therefore, the only thing that you have to do is just to remove the brackets, because there's nothing that multiplies the bracket at all. So remove the brackets, and you have x minus 3 minus 5. Then you add like terms. X minus 8 is your answer. And then last one. Now here we go, just to show you exactly what we're talking about in number 5. If we wanted to show you that the negative 5 multiplies the bracket, we will do something like, you see now, the negative 5 multiplies the bracket. There's nothing between those two brackets. That's multiplication. So you have to apply your distributive law and multiply negative 5 by 2x, and then multiply negative 5 by negative 4. Hence we've got positive 20 there. And there are no like terms. Negative 10x plus 20 is your answer. Okay, so it's pretty easy. Just watch out and always take note of which part of your expression is multiplying and which part is not, because you're going to get all sorts of expressions. Later on, there is another video that expands more, that puts more complex situations where you need to look very carefully and see, oh, in this expression I need to multiply this, I don't need to multiply that, I need to do this. So have a look at that video. It's also available on my list of videos.